What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. It's Ars. Let's get productive. So, effects plugins. I love effects plugins. I love the idea that you can take a seemingly simple sound or a seemingly simple melodic concept and add an effect or an EQ or something to it that drastically changes the whole dynamics of that sound. A really good effects plugin could take something as simple as this and make it sound like this. So it's just a beautiful thing. But if you guys are anything like me, I know you have your favorites. You have your plugins that you go to all the time, no matter what beat you're working on. So this video is gonna be all about my favorite effects plugins that I use on just about all of my beats. Now, before we jump into that, I wanna say a couple of things. The first thing is, I'm not really doing this in ranking order just because it's kind of hard to do that with, plugins like this, because what works for one beat might not work for another beat. So it doesn't mean that this plugin is any better than that plugin. It just means that this plugin may be more effective on this track than the last track. So I didn't really want to do a ranking order of like the best versus, or at least my best or my favorites versus my least favorite, or whatever the case may be. I just wanted to do plugins that I keep in my bag of tricks and I use on just about every single beat I do. And these effects plugins bring something really cool and really dynamic to just about any beat I'm putting together. So if you're watching this video right now, get your notepad, get your phone. I said notepad, I really took it back to 1980s or something. Get your phone, the notepad and your phone, get your fingers ready and jot these down, because these are definitely effects plugins that you're gonna wanna check out. Now, the first plugin that I wanna talk about comes from a company called CABLEGUYS, and it's called SHAPERBOX 2. Now, I may be late to the party. I didn't get the memo about SHAPERBOX 1, but SHAPERBOX 2 is crazy. SHAPERBOX 2 by CABLEGUYS. SHAPERBOX 2 is a multi-effects plugin that includes 7 of CABLEGUYS' cutting-edge effects: Time Shaper 2, Volume Shaper 6, Filter Shaper Core 2, Pan Shaper, Width Shaper, Crush Shaper, and Drive Shaper, all housed in one beautiful package, customizable LFOs and pins so you can draw your effect exactly how you hear them. Awesome presets categorized in an easily searchable way so you can find exactly what you need. Visual compression, vintage lo-fi effects, and much, much more. The price, $99. One of the things I really love about SHAPERBOX 2, besides how easy it is to use and how hands-on you can get, how creative you can get, is its penciling effect, that you can really draw the LFOs and draw the different twists and turns and bends within the dynamics of whatever effect you choose in this thing. You can draw exactly where you want the dips and the rises to happen, where you want things to slow down and speed back up. You can really pencil that in, and that's really, really dope. The other thing I love is you can combine multiple effects to make one big effect, and you can mix and blend them between each other. That's super awesome. I love that. But even if you're one of those people that's kind of like me and you're kind of on the go, like when you have an idea, you want to just get it out and you don't want to waste hours and hours and hours of trying to go in depth and really tweak every single part of the effect. You really just want to dive right into the presets. The presets in this thing set you up perfect. And most of the time, anytime I press that forward arrow and go to the next preset, it takes my sound or my melody or something that I've already created. It takes it to a whole new level in a completely different direction. I could have a really dope melody and a really dope beat and then hit that forward arrow in the presets, and it will take it to a whole new direction where I can make a whole new beat out of this thing. SHAPERBOX is really, really dope, and it's something I use on just about every single beat I do. Now, the next plugin that we're gonna talk about is the OCS 45 by Oversampled. Everyone out there that loves making lo-fi beats, and you love having that vintage sound, that warm sound, the hissing, the crackle, just has that grit and that texture of a warm old cassette tape, this plugin is for you. OCS45 by Oversampled. OCS45 is a cassette simulator that simulates actual variations of cassette tapes. It's designed to give a lo-fi vintage feel with controls over settings like wow and flutter, distortion, cassette settings, noise settings, and dropouts to sculpt your lo-fi sound to your liking. It also comes with really great presets. The cost, $19.99. I think it really goes without saying that there's a whole lot of plugins in this category. Plugins that are dedicated to giving you that lo-fi sound. I have multiple plugins in this lo-fi category that can kind of get me the sound that I'm going for. And out of all of those plugins, this is the one I seem to just keep coming back to the most. And I think because there's a really authentic tape sound to this thing, it doesn't sound like an effect. It really sounds like you took your audio and sent it to a DAT tape and then sent it from the DAT tape back into your software and got a warm tape sound to it. There's not a lot of crackle in it, but there's distortion. There's some really good hissing textures going on in there. The wobbles and the wow effects in this thing don't sound over the top and cheesy, and the presets are really good. So this is another plugin that if you didn't want to take the time to go through the settings and really adjust it and fine tune it to the beat that you're putting together, you could just jump right on the presets and it'll get you the sound that you're looking for like that. So this is one that I'm using on just about everything. Even if I'm not making a lo-fi beat, there's usually some melody somewhere within my production where I can use a little bit of warmth, and I add it sparingly to that. So yeah, Oversampled did their thing with this plugin. I use it all the time. You guys should definitely check it out. The next plugin that I'm going to talk about, I'm sure you guys have not only seen it on my channel, but you might have even seen it on other people's channel as well. And it's kind of like the secret sauce. I mean, this is something that I actually don't hear a lot of people mentioning, but it's like the people that I do see mentioning it, they know what's going on. They got their shit together. This one is called TRACKSPACER and it's by Waves Factory. This thing is awesome. TRACKSPACER by Waves Factory. TRACKSPACER creates space in a mix by carving the frequencies that a track needs. It applies an inverse EQ curve after analyzing the sidechain signal, so you can get the effects of a multi-band compression without actually compressing the signal, so you don't crush the dynamics out of your audio. It has a built-in frequency display that plays in real time, attack, release, low and high cut filters, and works amazing as a dedicated sidechain effect. The price, $59. Now what's really cool about TRACKSPACER is what it does for your sound without destroying your sound. You can get a really great sidechain effect happening on any instrument that you want to be sidechained without losing the dynamics of your sound or crushing the dynamics due to overcompression. It's analyzing the frequency spectrum and just ducking it in places that you tell it to duck it. Not compressing it, just lowering the volume. So, and it does it in real time while it's analyzing it. So it's giving you that same effect. It's ducking back the things that you want to duck back while maintaining the dynamics, and that's really great. You have one simple knob in the middle that gets the job done, where you can turn up its aggressiveness or turn down its aggressiveness. You can use the high cut and the low cut filters on this thing to narrow down where you want the plugin to focus its analyzation on. I don't even know if I said that the right way, but you can narrow that field down and it will only act on those individual bands or those frequencies. And it does an amazing job. I don't use sidechain on any of my compressors anymore. I literally use TRACKSPACER on my 808s, on my bass, sometimes on my instruments. Obviously, when I'm making lo-fi beats and I kind of want to duck everything back behind the kick and I want it to be a really aggressive sidechain effect, I use this on everything. I use this on everything. There's not one beat I make that I don't use TRACKSPACER on. You can use it on vocals to kind of sit your vocals on top of the mix a little bit better. You can use it on everything, but this is a really clean, really dope plugin that's taking a multi-band compressor concept but to a whole nother level, and it's bringing something to the table that's at least in my opinion, really unique, and I haven't seen it in a lot of places. TRACKSPACER is definitely something you want to check out, and I mean that. Like, out of all of the things that I'm mentioning in this video right now, you're gonna want to put TRACKSPACER on every beat that you make. Once you start using it, it's gonna be something you use on everything. It's literally secret sauce. So TRACKSPACER, check that one out. So the next plugin we're gonna talk about is a plugin that I actually did a whole review on this channel, and you can go check that review out. But this plugin is called Spaced Out, and it's by Baby Audio. Spaced Out by Baby Audio. Spaced Out is an effects generator that takes reverb and echoes to outer-worldly levels. It has a built-in 16-step delay sequencer and a beautifully spacious reverb feature that you can blend within a central mixer. With more than 50 individual effects built into this thing, 125 presets, and tons of customization, you could take space echoes to a whole new level. The price, $69. Spaced Out allows you to take simple sounds, simple melodies, simple vocals, and really stretch the stereo field and to a level that is just mind-boggling. Like, just next level shit. Between the delay sequencer and the reverb and the wet and dry knobs and how you can blend those things together, they have a ducker effect built inside of the thing, so you can kind of go as crazy and as insane as you want with this effect and really turn everything up and go crazy, and then just dial up the ducker so it doesn't overpower what the instrument that you're using it on. And just to keep it real with you, the presets in this thing are really unique, and they don't sound like all of the other space echoes or all of the other reverbs that I've heard all over the place. This is something really creative that Baby Audio put together, and it's dope. I use it on a lot of things. I usually use it on bell melodies. Sometimes I'll use it on vocals, but it's a really great instrument. So you guys should definitely check it out. Now, next plugin. This plugin that I'm about to name, I had for a little while, but in theory, it didn't seem like it did anything any different than some other plugins that I have. I mean, it was a distortion plugin. More recently, I started using them on my 808s and on my bass, and what I noticed is, even though it's a distortion plugin, and even though distortion plugins exist, there's textures to this distortion plugin that are really unique, and I'm noticing that no matter what 808 I use or what bass I use, this plugin sounds good on everything. And I'll get more into what makes it great, but the plugin that I'm talking about is Trap Drive by DigiNoise. Trap Drive by DigiNoise. It's perfect for bringing the right sound and distortion to bass and 808s, and it's simple to use. Just choose between the type of distortion you're looking for, dial up the amount knob, and you're good to go. The price, $19. I think part of the reason that I love this thing is because of its simplicity, but how well it gets the job done. When you see it, it almost looks like something, it almost looks like a plugin that's a light version of something. So at first glance, it almost feels a little underwhelming, and I think that's why it took me so long to get on it. But once I started using it, every 808 I use this thing on, every bass I use this thing on, even vocals sometimes when I use this thing, there are some textures inside the different settings in this plugin that just work well on everything. And I like that it's not oversaturated with a bunch of presets and a bunch of different settings. They give you I think it's 6 settings or so that you can, 6 different distortions that you can go between, and then you can just turn up the amount knob of how much of that distortion you want on whatever instrument you're using it on. And you would think that that wouldn't be enough, because you want to have more hands-on capability and be able to tweak things how you really want to tweak it, but it's enough. I really feel like the guys over at DigiNoise really took the time to analyze their favorite distortions and what they like about their favorite distortions, and just put those on this plugin, and then gave you the option to turn up the amount of it. And I think it works really good if you use it parallel to an instrument or a vocal. So parallel distortion on vocals, a parallel distortion on your 808. It's great. And it's so funny that this was just like sitting in my list of plugins for so long, and it took me so long to get to it, and when I did, I really loved it. But I'm using it all the time now on just about everything. So yeah, Trap Drive is definitely one that you guys should check out. Now this last one that I'm gonna talk about isn't necessarily something I use on every single beat that I make, but I use it on a lot of my beats, and I also more recently have started using it on a lot of my vocals for just tracks in general. And it's a dynamic delay called Dynamic Delay by Initial Audio. Dynamic Delay by Initial Audio. Dynamic Delay is, well, exactly what it says it is. A dynamic delay plugin with a built-in sidechain which conduct the loudness of generated delays. It's a stereo delay, and you can set the feedback between left and right channels. It has a light version of Initial Audio's signature AR1 reverb, a detune to add some various pitch harmonics, distortion, low cut and high cut filters, and a handful of presets that are ready to take your creativity to new heights. The price, $24. The thing that really makes this plugin shine is the dynamic element of the delay. The fact that you can sidechain the effect and really get and really go crazy with the different parameters and settings and really make the delay over the top, you know, crazy, outer worldly, and still maintain the presence of the person's vocals. You can get a real Jhené Aiko reverb delay effect happening in a person's vocals and still maintain their presence without clouding it in the effect. And that, plus its presets and the creative aspect of the delays within the presets, its detuner, so you can get a bit of change in the pitch variations to really give you a unique presence to the delay. All of those things make this something worth adding to whatever it is you're cooking up, whether you're cooking up a melody, you're adding it on a snare, or you're just adding it to a person's vocals. It brightens it up and spaces it out in such a beautiful, unique, natural way. And there's a lot of presets in this thing that don't necessarily sound like the presets I've heard in other delays. It's just a really good delay to use. You know what I'm saying? It's not boastful, even in its UI. When you look at the UI is not over the top. But it does its job, and it does its job well. And it's definitely something you guys should check out. So Dynamic Delay by Initial Audio, definitely one to check out. And yeah, that's it. That's what this whole episode was about. I just wanted to bring you guys some of my tools. More recently, I had posted some beats on my Instagram account, and I had a few people ask me how I got certain melodies to sound the way they sounded. So I thought it'd be a good idea to just talk about some of the plugins that I use to do the things that I do. So hopefully you found this interesting. Hopefully you found this a little bit insightful, and there's some things on this list that maybe you don't have and you maybe want to check out. As always, if there was something you didn't hear on this list and you know that I might want to check out, please leave a comment down below and let me know. I absolutely love unique effects plugins and opportunities to take my toolkit to the next level. So just leave a comment down below and let me know if there's anything that I missed. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you can be notified anytime I drop some new material. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.